Hi, John from York & Bay Financial Partners, looking at the investment markets. Really pretty big week for stocks in the US. You've got a lot of corporate earnings, a lot of the big names, Microsoft, Apple, etc. Also, you've got a Fed meeting as well, and all this against the backdrop of a global pandemic with COVID-19 that at present doesn't really seem to be going away. Now, up until now, corporate earnings in the US for the second quarter have been pretty reasonable, really, and certainly nowhere near as bad as first anticipated. Now, most expect the Fed to leave rates unchanged. There's no real surprise there. But just really a question of seeing what commentary accompanies that rate announcement. Also into the mix as well, you've got the growing tensions between China and the US, and that's really not going away, and if anything, is just escalating further. China's certainly having a pretty major impact as well. It's increasing tensions with sort of global partners. Really on the back, obviously, the U.S. trade deal is not sort of helping, but really, it's, China's new security laws coming in force in Hong Kong, and that's really appears to be upsetting quite a few nations out there. Obviously, China has hit back and said, look, you need to just step back and just leave our internal politics alone. Obviously, the issue here is that China is a major trading partner with just about every country in the world. Obviously, we've still got COVID-19, and while cases are still rising, they do appear to be sort of plateauing a little bit. There is actually a small reduction in a couple of states in terms of number of cases. That's obviously encouraged the administration, but really, cases are still way too high to have a full-blown reopening of the economy. Now, all of this really isn't helping President Trump's sort of re-election. He's down in just about every poll, and certainly in terms of popularity and how well people think he's doing, those numbers are really plummeting. It's very hard to see how he's going to turn this around. As November the 3rd is not that far away now. Interesting in Europe, Spain has seen a little bit of a spike in cases as they reopen the borders and allow tourists to come back. But that's going to be very interesting to see how that sort of plays through. Certainly at present, it's not a major sort of spike, but it is certainly an increase in cases. But again, with Europe, the ECB has announced, an historic fiscal package that really should help sort of eurozone and those economies get back on their feet. Australia is still doing it pretty tough out there. Melbourne is still the epicenter of the COVID-19 in Australia, and really it's just a question of just trying to work through these sort of next couple of weeks and hoping that the number of cases then start to come down. Oil still holding pretty well, like, sort of plus or minus a couple of bucks around that sort of $40 per barrel. Here in New Zealand, obviously getting closer to that September election, and certainly the political implications are starting to ramp up now. Currently, Labour seem to have a quite clear and comfortable majority, and it's just going to be interesting if they can hold that through to the September election. Big issues are obviously still the economy and obviously COVID and how they're sort of dealing with returning New Zealanders into quarantine, potential for costs to be included now, so returning New Zealanders have to pay for their quarantine. There are still obviously the odd breakout as well, which is really putting the rest of the country at risk. But certainly the housing market's holding up pretty well, and that's it's all boding reasonably well for the economy. At present it's sort of ticking along. It's no gangbusters, but it's again nowhere near as dire as first anticipated. But certainly it's going to be pretty tough next through 3 to 6 months. Now, obviously, if you are looking for income in this low interest rate environment, it is pretty tough out there, but there are alternatives, some options. And if you're interested in discussing what is available, call us at 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles, and we look forward to speaking to you soon.